I love watching the news, and I have to say it is depressing me like crazy lately. I don't know if you remember, like last month it really hit me because within 1 week there were 3 crazy crimes that happened, right? So one lady, her and her friends were looking for a party. They drove into this like big long driveway in upstate New York, and some guy just started shooting at them. So in another situation, a black teenager went up to a house mistakenly, rang the doorbell, and the guy shot him from behind the door. That same week there were a couple teenagers, cheerleaders, that one of them accidentally got into a car, and the guy was sitting in the car, and then she got out and he came up to their car and shot them. When I Googled just now to make sure that I got my facts right, I found even more. Like there's just so much of this going on. And it got me thinking, is violence in this country going crazy? Is this like the worst violence we've ever seen? And so I went back and I looked at the crime stats. And it seems that over the last couple of years, we have seen an increase in violent crime. But this year seems to be slowing down. At least year to date, it's slowing down. And so if the trend continues, this year it'll be down. But it won't go back down to the 2018, 2019 levels, the pre-pandemic levels. And I think the same thing, if I'm not mistaken, the same thing is true for robberies. But if you look at the statistics, you go back even further, they were so much higher in the 90s. In the early 90s, they were super high. They came down, and now we've gotten a few bumps up in recent years. So what's going on? So first of all, we all have cameras on us all the time. And our homes have security cameras, businesses have security cameras, and the quality is pretty good. So now it's very easy for the news agencies to pick these things up and share them with us. Okay, so that's definitely problem number 1. Problem number 2 is a lot of our news agencies, if not all of them, are supported by ad revenue. And so they want to grab our attention so that they can sell ad space to companies. And what captures our attention? Things that scare us. And so all these scary videos of people getting robbed, people being killed, all sorts of things happening. Now, when I was growing up, they weren't available, but now they're available because we have all these cameras, because we have social media, because we have the internet. All this stuff is helping us communicate these horrific crimes much easier. And then for news outlets to pick them up and then share them with the rest of us. So that's problem number 2. Problem number 3 is we have lost trust in our institutions. And unfortunately, what that leads to is us taking matters into our own hands, not trusting law enforcement, not trusting the legal system to get things right. And so, I'm going to get my own gun. I'm going to handle justice my way. But like I said, it's dramatically less than what we saw in the 90s. So what can we do? Well, first is we need to be aware of this, right? That this is not the worst time. We are actually in a pretty good time, right? Things have gotten a little worse. There's no denying that. But if you look at just crime by itself, we look at violence, murders, robberies, they're definitely down compared to a few decades ago. So feel good about that. So the second thing we can do is understand the biases that exist within politicians and the media who are spreading and disseminating some of this information for their own interests, right? Like I said, media is supported by ad revenue. So they want to get our attention so that they can sell ads, right? The more eyes, the more ads, the more revenue. They're happy. But what that means for us is they're not looking out for us. They're not trying to feed us accurate, representative information, to put things into context, right? It's really just these crazy headlines that catch our attention. We watch the story, we click on the story, and then they cash in, right? So we need to be aware of that. And same thing for politicians, right? They're interested in generating donations. They're interested in galvanizing people and making them angry so that they come to the polls and vote. And so they're not always going to, and we know that, they're not going to spread the most accurate information. They're going to spread the information that gets us the most riled up, angry, so that we donate that money, so that we go to the polls and we vote for them. So that's also very important to realize. So the third thing is we need to invest in ourselves. Okay, what do I mean by this? We're all members of society. We're all contributing to this general vibe that exists, right? And so if each one of us invests in improving ourselves, in seeing past the lies and seeing past the manipulations, into just becoming better people and looking at those around us and how we can help out and how we can be a benefit to our city, our state, our country, in whatever way we're able to. And that will change society. And taking the time to relax and wind down and not get caught up in all of this insanity that's kind of being spread in society. I think that's also important. I'm curious to hear what you have to say, whether it's dealing with like kind of some of the problems we're seeing in society, or some of the potential solutions that each one of us can be implementing in our own lives to change the situation. I'm really looking forward to hearing that. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.